On the DeltaMath assignment, the first section where you're having to do the proof. My recommendations are to copy this onto a blank sheet of paper. So I have my tablet nearby, so I'm going to trace this onto my tablet, copy it rather. And then you're going to take your given statements and mark your picture accordingly. I'm just doing a quick sketch. You guys can't see my quick sketch, but I will help you with the drop downs here. And then of course we know that AB is perpendicular to BC, so that gives us a right angle at angle B. And then we have AD is perpendicular to DC, so that gives us a right angle at point D. And then I know I have reflexive with AC. So it looks like it's going to be a right triangle because of the right angles. I have a leg congruent by the given, and I have a hypotenuse congruent because of the reflexive. So my triangles are going to be congruent by HL. So you just have to sketch a picture, pre-plan based on what you're given and what you can legally add, and that should give you enough information to show the triangles are congruent. Now comes the fun part, actually putting it into the computer. So you do your little drop down here. And you're going to pick one of these. So if you did a proof in your head, or you just kind of pre-planned it, then you know you want to talk about the perpendicular segments giving you right angles. So right here I'm going to choose that I have a right angle. When I select it, you have to say which angle is a right angle. So I can type in a B. How do I know that angle B was a right angle? Because perpendicular lines form right angles. So you would select that, you would push try, and it took it and it marked that angle. We also know that AD is perpendicular to DC. When you hover over it, it will highlight those two segments for you. So maybe that'll make the picture a little bit easier to read. So you know because those are perpendicular, you have another right angle. So you're going to do the drop down. We're going to select the option that you have a right angle, but you have to type in which angle is right. So we're going to say angle D is right because of those perpendicular segments. And the reason perpendicular lines make right angles. Hit try and it marks that for you. The other thing that we know is we have right triangles based on those right angles. So I can classify a triangle. So I'll go down here to classify a triangle. And I can say triangle ABC is a right triangle. How do I know it's a right triangle? Because it contains a right angle. So you would select that option, hit try. So it flashed, I have a right triangle. And if I hover over it, it darkens it for me or colors it in. I also have another right angle, which makes a second right triangle. Well, I need to classify that triangle because in order for us to use the hypotenuse leg theorem, we had to have right triangles. That's why we're putting this step into our proof. Again, the triangle contains a right angle. That's why it's a right triangle. So now I have a right triangle and a right triangle because I had right angles, because I had perpendicular. So perpendicular gave me right angles gave me right triangles. So I went ahead and wrote that up. The order does not matter in which you put these, but you do obviously have to say you have a right angle before you have a right triangle. That does matter. All right, so I have a leg and I have now right triangles. The other thing I need is my hypotenuse. So I can say that I have segments that are congruent. So I'm going to choose the option that's showing segment congruence. And then I need to say which segments are congruent. Well, that's AC is congruent to AC because of the reflexive property. And when I hit try, it'll tick it for me. So it marked it congruent. So I have a right triangle, two right triangles. They both are right triangles. And I have a congruent hypotenuse and I have a congruent leg because that's what they gave me. So I have enough stuff to say my triangles are congruent. So I'm going to drop down, select the congruent triangle option, and I'm going to say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle, order matters. So I have to make sure that I label these in the correct order. ADC, and the reason is hypotenuse leg. So when I click submit or try, it's going to show me that my triangles have been listed with the HL theorem there, and so I'm ready to submit my answer because it didn't give me any other options. Click yes and you get the green check mark. If you ever get stuck, there's this watch help video. If you click on that, he will talk about the problem or one similar to it, so you would just push play. And he tells you how to answer these questions. This video is 9 minutes long. So you can watch that and determine how to answer some of these problems if you get stuck. Try to pause it there. Okay. So hopefully Let me pause you. He's going to keep talking. Anyways, so that's how you would answer those questions. The little drop downs, you have to change the letters to match the letters in your picture. Write down the triangles, pre-plan how you're going to prove those two triangles are congruent, just like we talked about in class, and then do your drop downs, fill in your information. All right, I hope this little tutorial helps you figure out the first set of problems in DeltaMath for this week.